Animal testing is when non-human animals are used in experiments. Animals can be tested on numerous different experiments, including to determine the toxicity of chemicals, as well as whether or not products are suitable for humans. In this video, we will look at both sides of the argument, examining why certain people think animal testing should happen and why others staunchly oppose it. The arguments for and against animal testing have been put into three groups: ethical arguments, arguments about the efficiency of animal testing, and arguments about the cost of animal testing. Let's start with ethical arguments, by far the most popular type of argument used to defend or attack animal testing. Firstly, we need to understand what an ethical argument is. Ethics concerns what is morally right and wrong, so ethical arguments for or against animal testing focus on whether or not it is morally right or wrong. Proponents of animal testing argue that it is morally right, as it has helped with the development of many life-saving treatments for both humans and animals. Opponents of animal testing argue, on the other hand, that it is cruel and inhumane to the animals, and that there are often alternative methods that could be used to test product suitability for humans. There is also the moral argument that animal testing is acceptable because animals are inferior to humans. They lack sentience and reason and have historically been considered inferior throughout many different times and cultures. Opponents say that this argument does not speak to the benefits of animal testing. Instead, it attempts to justify humans causing harm and suffering to animals, simply for the sake of it. Animal testing can also be justified or criticised on grounds of efficiency. Efficiency means getting the most out of something, not wasting resources. So proponents of animal testing argue that animals are very close to humans when it comes to DNA and organs, meaning that testing on them provides insight into humans. However, opponents would argue that we are not that similar to the animals that are being tested upon. We are bigger, we have different skeletons, etc., making testing on them a waste of their lives. Plus, opponents would also argue that tests on animals do not always reliably predict results in humans, meaning some drugs that harm animals help humans, and some that harm humans do not harm animals, again furthering the argument that animal testing is inefficient. The final group of arguments for or against animal testing concerns cost. In terms of cost, opponents of animal testing argue that it is a waste of money, as the results are not necessarily predictive of results in humans, and the same tests can be done for cheaper via stem cells and synthetic organs, for example. Proponents would argue, on the other hand, that animal testing saves money, as it avoids lawsuits and the cost of drugs having to be remade if they fail human trials. Overall, it seems that animal testing is favoured by some because they think it helps save lives. They argue that by testing on a living organism before humans, it helps speed up the process of producing new drugs for patients. On the other hand, opponents of animal testing question whether it is really worth the pain and the suffering it causes them, as it is expensive, not always reliable, and has many different alternatives. That's animal testing for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, please share, and please subscribe.